All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. No, not a Tuesday edition. Okay, Kenya.
Not a Tuesday.
Monday, Monday edition of this week's Power Hour Podcast. I am Mike Hatcher, your state chairman and host of this show, and my co-host, the one and only Kenya Sloan, Girls Knoxville Wrestling Club head coach, national champ,
Seems
and
weird. Can't
if
believe
I,
I
if
trust
I,
it.
you know what, my resume, my pedigree is a lot easier for the introduction because yours can take a while. All
Oh,
I'm
well,
cool.
yours could take a while too if we listen every week.
So yeah, welcome everyone. Sorry we're turning in too late here, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think we'll see we'll see how many viewers we get into tonight. Can you never know?
Monday is
They might
normally
be.
like
They
a
might be. Yeah, Mondays are tough. They're hard. They're tough.
yeah.
And this is the reason. I know. I'm going to go ahead. It's all my fault. It is my fault. I'm actually going to the Stevie Nicks concert tomorrow night.
You didn't tell me it was Stevie Nicks. You just said you were going to a concert.
Oh, I know. I missed it. We were talking about this last week, and I totally mistook that. So we might have to switch it next week too, because the one I was going to go see this week that I thought was this week is actually next week.
What is
But I
that
also
one?
forgot that I had tickets to Stevie Nicks.
What is the other one?
It's called Tiger Lily. Tiger Lily something. I met the lead
Oh
singer.
yeah, that's the lady
Yeah.
that you met, the girl.
Yep. I met the lead singer. She's really cool. They actually
Sweet.
Tiger. I'll give
What?
her a
If you
shout
would
out.
have told me it was Stevie Nicks, I'd have been driving down tomorrow.
I know. Come on. Stevie Nicks is. I mean, you just never know. Like some of these. Yeah, there it is. Tiger Lily. That's what it is. Tiger Lily. Next week I'm going to see that one. But yeah, Stevie Nicks tomorrow night down here in Bridgestone. I've seen her two other times. As once as Fleetwood Mac, about
Mm-hmm.
five. Nah, maybe that's getting a little bit 5 to 7 years ago in New York City. In that stadium, it's pretty
New
awesome.
York City.
New
Wow.
York. She was with actually not only the original, all of Fleetwood Mac, the original band, and then Journey, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Yeah, it was.
What?
It was. Yeah, it was this East Coast, East, this East West type of whatever concert series with those four. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was Fleetwood Mac, Journey, um, and Earth, Wind, and Fire. God, am I missing somebody? Anyway, I might be missing somebody, but I don't know. But it was. But all I know was awesome. And I couldn't. And I was living in California at the time. And it was one show in L.A., one show in New York, and I lived like 3 hours north of LA, but for some reason we were out of town, I think, for wrestling. I couldn't go see it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go see the other one in New York. So I flew all the way across the country and saw the other one in New York.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
you got to, I mean, that's just,
That's like a
gotta do,
once in a lifetime. Like,
yeah, you got to do what you can there. And then she was here last year with Billy Joel. Obviously, I'm a big Stevie Nicks Fleetwood Mac fan. I mean, that's like their iconic band. And she's
mhm.
incredible. And yeah, okay, just like me and everybody else my age, yeah, it's always been a Stevie Nicks crush. I think that's pretty much everybody. That's like 98% of the men my age, I'm sure, have
Yeah,
some sort of Stevie Nicks crush. So yeah, but I saw her with Billy Joel last year,
that's
and that
cool.
was awesome. And now I am going to. She's at Bristol tomorrow night by herself.
Well, maybe you'll get lucky. You could take her on a date after.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen. But hey, wishful thinking.
Don't cut yourself out, Hatch.
But either way, we got switched up tonight. Got a Monday show. How
Yeah.
about you, Kenya? What's going on with you before we get the show started?
What's going on with me?
Long
Nothing
week?
crazy. Yeah, I just got out of practice. Had to run home and shower. I was joking with Brock because they're in their practice room whenever they come on, they're in their room. And I was like, I don't think you guys would
Yeah.
want me on the show like right after practice. I've got to go home and shower and do something with all this on the top of my head. But I made it here. I made it here all the time.
Yeah.
So it was good. Nothing crazy. Had a good weekend. Spent time with my mom because it was Mother's Day. Didn't
Mother's
do
Day.
any
That's right.
coaching or competing or anything this weekend.
Weekend off wrestling. That's good, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then we're back at it next weekend.
I know.
Well,
It's
this
crazy.
weekend.
Yeah, I went to steeplechase on Saturday. It's like the Middle Tennessee version of the Kentucky Derby. It's pretty cool. It's fun.
Oh, it's a
Yeah,
horse race?
yeah, yeah. Out in the middle of
Oh,
this big field in Bellevue. Yeah, out here.
that
Everybody's
sounds
dressed
cool.
up. Yeah, everybody's dressed up like Kentucky Derby. Everybody's got
Yeah.
pink, and blues, and everything else on. It was
Oh,
pretty cool. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, we had a good
I've
time.
got
I had
like
a couple of coaches going, so it was good.
that sounds fun. I've got terrible memories associated with the Kentucky Derby because for my first 2 years in college, since I'm like an hour and a half from the whatever you want to call it, big race track thing, we would go there for a fundraiser for our wrestling team. And we would have to leave at like 4 in the morning to drive to Louisville, and then we'd be there, dirty, sweaty, standing all day, just dealing with like rich, old, drunk people who think they deserve everything. And so yeah, those races seem so cool, but I'm like, I don't think I could ever go to one. I'm so like ruined on them from the way I experienced
Oh, you go to the Kentucky Derby, and then you'll change your thinking on that. Trust me.
it. Really?
That's like one of the top 5 coolest events I've ever been to, and I think I've been to some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
And Kentucky Derby was, yeah.
I think it's
Our
cool,
state derby
especially
always
for
falls on the weekend. Always, every week, every year. First
yeah.
weekend of May. That's Kentucky Derby weekend. We got to start changing that because I got to go back to Derby.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe.
our board's got to be a little bit more, kind of.
Understanding of what's
Yeah, it's got
going
to be, be a little bit more understanding, a little bit more respectful to my social calendar. I'm going to bring that up. Bring that up the next board meeting. So let's kind of stay away from that whole May, that first weekend of May. So in case anybody wants to attend the Kentucky Derby, I think right to do that.
Yeah, I think if they tended to your social calendar, then there would be nothing that got done.
You probably got it. That's probably very accurate. Well, anyway, what we got going? We had weekend off, so we didn't really have any. We don't get no results.
No, so instead we're gonna like preview something that's coming soon.
We are. We got Southeast Regionals coming up this weekend. Yes. You gonna be there?
I'll be there.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, I know we're gonna have probably a ton of Tennessee athletes there. We are the 2-time defending Southeast Regional champions.
I didn't know that.
Yes, we won last year. When it was in North Carolina the last 2 years, we like smoked everybody. Everybody.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we had probably the most participation in the tournament, probably other than North Carolina. But I don't know. We might even bested them in participation. Yeah. But then, of course, in the point totals, we just hammered it. But this one, I look at this probably being a much more. Not saying that the last 2 years wasn't competitive, because there's always great wrestlers at any of these regional tournaments, but it's really difficult where it was in North Carolina the past couple of years for like the South Florida people to get all the way up, and there is a ton of like outstanding wrestling in the southern part of Florida. It's just, you're talking about getting kids all the way up from Miami and the Fort Lauderdale area and getting them all the way up into North Carolina and the hills of North Carolina. That's a long haul. So I think Florida didn't have the greatest participation because they have so many numbers in the South Florida. So I always remember when the Southeast Regionals was in Atlanta, which is now it's this year. It's right outside in Duluth. Mm-hmm. It was always the most competitive. I mean, it was just because Atlanta's really kind of central, in our Southeast region. So so I'm looking forward to a really, really, really competitive tournament this weekend. So we'll see.
Sounds fun.
Go Tennessee. That's what's cool about these regional tournaments. You get now we can. Yeah, I mean, we've already spent the last couple months kind of competing against each other,
Yeah.
And now we kind of, of course, where everybody's, it's wrestling. Everybody's in it for themselves.
Yeah, but we kind of
but now we can start cheering on the other Tennessee people.
Yeah, that is fun.
Yeah, because if you didn't know, and this is a little bit about the Southeast region, a lot of people, right? This is about the time when we start getting a lot of questions on Fargo. Is what it takes to qualify for Fargo. Well, obviously, we just got done with our state tournament this past the weekend before last, and the top. So basically, here's how it works: we get 4 slots for Fargo, 4 slots per weight, per style. And then that's both 16U boys and 16U girls. So, and then junior boys, junior girls. So the top 4 at our state play. So we determined that, just like every other state does, we determined that the state tournament is our qualifier for Fargo. So the top 4, if you place in the top 4 in either style, you qualified for Fargo. Now, if you qualified, obviously, if you're 16U, let's just say you're 16U Greco, 16U 120 Greco, in the boys side. Okay, and you only qualify, and you place in the top 4 on the Greco side, you're only qualified for the Greco tournament. You're not qualified for the freestyle tournament. So that would be only, that's the only caveat. You got to place in that style at that particular in our state tournament, our qualifier. Now, this is where the regionals comes into play. So if they place this weekend, like say for example, and I'll just give another example, the 120 16U freestyle. So if we have somebody that places in the top 6 in this regional, that earns us an extra qualifier. So now, not only do we get the 4 that we have from our state tournament, okay, but we also get another one. So what that means is like, if the kid that was first, he won our state tournament at 120. Well, if he goes down to the Southeast Regionals and places 3rd, well, he's already got a qualifier, so we don't have to use his slot allocation for that particular one. So that gives us the 3. That gives us all 4 because we don't use his state tournament placing. We use the Southeast Regional qualification, and then we still have the 4 for the 4 spots. So if we have 2 kids go down that weight class in place, well, that still opens up 4 slots, but then we have those 2 in addition. So really, we can bring 6 kids at that weight class in that style.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then how's it decided who gets to fill those extra spots?
Well, us as a state, we haven't really had that problem yet. we just haven't had that much participation. Whereas states like, let's say Illinois, perfect example, they are very, very strict on their qualifications, and they have to be. They have a ton of kids that are jockeying for these positions, and they earn some. When it comes to their regions and the other regions that they go to, but they still just they're so deep. Like that state is so deep with freestyle Greco wrestling. I mean, Illinois is generally one of the teams that's up there pretty consistently every year. So they've not only qualified like spots through the regions, but they also have their 4 slots from state. So they have to be very, very choosy and picky on who. They have a certain qualification process and so a certain, just qualification that they have, and they take a look at it, and they have the different criteria that makes their national team. Whereas us, on the other hand, especially when we start qualifying extra slots through these regionals.
Yeah, it's like, hey, anyone want to anyone?
Yeah, who wants to go? Who wants to pay the money? That's really what it is. And before, like literally, we used to send, like when I was state chair before, I mean, our Fargo team was probably anywhere from 15 to 20 kids. I mean, I remember specifically some years I would bring about 8 to 10 from Chattanooga. Garrett House and Balky would bring from Memphis. They would bring about 4 to 5, 6, somewhere in that neighborhood. There'd be a couple kids from Middle Tennessee, and then other than that, there really wasn't many at all. That was about it for Fargo. So now it's a little bit different. Whereas I think last year we brought almost 60. Obviously between the boys and the girls, and I mean, it's just the numbers keep getting bigger. So, we've had a lot more, a lot more people inquiring about it up to this point. So everybody's waiting for the registration links, which I'll give a shout out to in a little bit here at the end, as far as Fargo and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But looking for a good Southeast Regional performance and qualify some extra spots, and then we won't have any problems. Because then after that, I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure how it's going to go. If we have like 8 kids at 152 or whatever, and juniors, and they all want to go, and
here's one way I would say probably. I mean, I don't make these decisions, but this sounds like it makes sense. One way to make sure you go is maybe be the person to go qualify and get that extra spot, and then you don't have to worry about it. Someone picks you.
That's what I would think. Or be that person that went to the state tournament and qualified.
It's too late if you didn't do that. Unless you got
that's what sucks about our state tournament, is that it's in May, and there's no great weekend in May that you can have it. There's no weekend in May where kids don't have a prom, they don't have graduations, they have all kinds of stuff going on. So we've toyed around maybe having the state tournament a little bit earlier in April. I mean, I don't. That's kind of gets a little bit difficult, but
then it's hard because you can't really have any other tournaments after it. That makes sense. Like to do the state tournament and then have your other freestyle Greco tournaments afterwards.
Yeah, because we have the Ironman tournament in the second weekend of April, right off the bat, and then even if we came back and had our state tournament a couple weeks ago, well, that's usually the same weekend as the trials. with all the 14, 16, or 15, 17. 20U, trials and stuff. So it gets a little difficult, but like I said, good problems to have. We'll figure out when to go. So, but just so you guys know, everybody, Fargo registration information will be out probably, if it's not out tonight. Our communications director, Henry, is either going to shoot it out tonight. We just got done with all the registration forms and all that stuff. They've been done for a while. We just kind of wait for a little while, but they'll be out either tonight. You'll get them through email. We email them through our membership. We also put it on our social media. So make sure you guys go to our social medias on Facebook and on Instagram, and you can get all that Fargo information there if that's something you're interested in. So there it is. Cool. All right. Well, that's one national team, but we're also talking about a couple other national teams tonight.
Good job.
What else do we have? How do you like that transition?
That was great.
Man, you can tell I listen to a lot of podcasts, huh?
That was good.
There we go. we are talking some national teams.
Yeah.
That's the Fargo national team, just basic information. But we got a couple
Before that.
team leaders coming on tonight that are going to tell us a little bit about our duels.
Yeah.
So, what do you got for us on the? Considering you are going to be a participant in the
I know.
this year's coaching pool for the duels.
Yeah.
What kind of info you got it for us, Kenya?
I'm so happy that we are covering this topic in our podcast because it's going to be informative to everyone watching, but it's also going to be informative to me because I have no earthly idea actually what goes on. I've never wrestled in this
I have
tournament.
no idea what you got locked into, do you?
No, I just got a few days marked off on my calendar. That's all I know.
Right. Good job,
But-
Mackenzie. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you got it. You did the part that matters.
Down.
So, but yeah, we're gonna talk about do like a little bit of a preview for our junior girls national duels that'll be happening in Tulsa next month. And so, joining us, we have, well, ironically, we have all three coaches of that team: myself and Coach Brock and Coach Mac. Oh, perfect. There you go. Now you guys don't have
What's up, gentlemen?
sit too
Hey,
close.
how you doing?
Good.
Welcome everyone. This is Coach Brock, who we've had on the show before, and then next to him we have Coach Mac, who is also going to be coaching the junior girls team in Tulsa. So we've brought them on to kind of just give everyone, including myself, I'm not going to be able to contribute at all. I'm only asking questions. A little preview of like what this tournament looks like, because I know Brock, you've coached at it before, correct?
I coached the cadet boys last year, yeah. But
Okay.
I competed in Tulsa when I was in high school at junior duels. So it's been pretty much the same every year.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Hey, before we start talking duels, Brock, you going to be at Southeast Regions this weekend?
Kind of planning on it. Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of.
All right. Will you have some representation down there?
Yeah, we'll definitely. We got a couple.
Okay, 'cause I got a T-shirt from Thailand for you.
I told them to grab it at States.
I know, but I didn't have it down there though. I didn't bring it. I'll bring it this weekend.
Okay.
I just want to throw that in. Anyway, let's talk wrestling.
I'm excited.
I wanted to see if I needed to pack it or not.
Yeah, back
That's
it up.
funny.
All right.
Okay, so after Brock gets his T-shirt, it
I
sounds-
threw you off there, didn't I, Kenya?
I know, I'm jealous. I'm like, what?
Kenny's a little mad because I didn't get her a T-shirt from Thailand.
It's okay. Next time I'll put in a special request.
There you go.
But so since you've competed in this tournament and coached the boys, obviously it's a little bit different. Just as if we're all completely ignorant, can you kind of explain to us what the national dual tournament is and what we can expect from it?
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. And the girls will actually be wrestling Greco this year as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if they did they last year, Mike? I don't think they did.
No.
last
Actually, I think we're just entering a freestyle team though. I think they're just
Yeah.
freestyle. Yeah,
Oh,
just
this year it's just we're just doing freestyle.
We're just doing freestyle.
Okay, all right. That's easy for us, I guess.
Yeah, well,
But it's really awesome. The whole experience was awesome last year. We're still ironing out the details. Mrs. Fowler is kind of spearheading that, and I'm so thankful to have her. Passing me information and helping me out with this, and really taking care of like the logistics of everything. But last year with the boys, we traveled to Illinois, and it was a long tournament, and it's tough. I mean, you're wrestling, especially when it got to freestyle, because that seemed to be like, we wrestled teams for Greco, a lot of teams for Greco, and then it got to freestyle, and everybody's fresh, and you're wrestling all the A teams, and the competition level is high. So I think, and I press this all the time with our kids here in Clarksville, is anytime we can get on these teams or earn a spot on these teams, take advantage of it. The exposure is fantastic. I would much rather have my kids go and get their butts kicked 14 times than go and win 4 matches. You know what I mean? So I'm a true believer in that. I think that's how you get better, is wrestling better competition and taking your lumps and learning from it. And I really think that these girls this year, I think this team this year is going to give some lumps out for sure, more so than we take. So,
yeah. Do you want to give us a rundown of some of the girls that you already have lined up for the team?
Yeah, I'm not going to say weights right now. I'll name the girls that we have on the team that are locked in for sure. We have some open spots I'd like to go over to, just kind of put it out there. Put it on social media. I haven't really got any reach back from it yet, so trying to fill some spots as well. So we have Riley Sturgill, Betsy Sanchez, Elisa Rankin, Lexi Dean, Mariana Bowen, Sophia Satterfield, Caroline Hilton, Evelyn Ochoa, Gianna Nicolau, Bella Lauren, Elia Whaley, Rebecca Deo, and Madeline Zunin right now. And those are all the ones that I saw. They're locked in. The weights we're still searching for, or we haven't had it committed yet, are 95, 105, 115, 140, and 190. So if anybody out there, if you have a tough girl at one of those weights, please reach out. The best way probably is social media for both of us, right, Kenya? So it's at Kenya Sloan or at Coach Brock. My name will pop up. Just reach out, shoot us a DM, and we'll get you the information and kind of talk it up because we really like to fill those spots. Have the toughest team we have. I mean, and some of those girls are backups. That's what's crazy. Like that list I just named as state placers, state champions, top 3 in the state, hammers, and some of them are backups. So that's how I think the junior team is. I tried to snag a little bit more of the cadet girls. Tried to get Delilah to jump with us, but she headed to the cadet team. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm super pumped. So,
I tell you what, the junior girls tournament has been the one. That's the one that threw the whole wrench into this whole event last year because of the growth of women's wrestling. Yeah, because last year they were literally. I mean, they didn't anticipate that many 14U girls teams there last year. It actually they didn't anticipate that many junior girls teams there as well. I mean, and they had literally like teams wrestling like at 11, 12 o'clock at night last year.
Oh man.
And then, this is in a pretty big venue. I mean, Tulsa's been hosting this tournament for, my goodness, I don't even know how long. We've always juniors have just been in Tulsa. So they had the girls there, then they added the 14Us there a couple of years ago. And it was, a few teams came and stuff like that. It wasn't anything big, but last year there was this huge influx of 14U and then also junior teams, girls on the girls side that came. And so we at our state chairman's meeting this year in the fall, we had to do this whole revamp of the whole dual tournament schedule just because of this, because it was, it was just too big. We just have too many teams.
I'm so unsurprised. Obviously, a lot of that has to do with just the growth of females in the sport in general, but I also feel like this dual tournament environment is like so addicting and easy to crave. Like whenever you're on a team, especially, a team period, competing in a dual versus an individual tournament. But then when you're on a team with like the best athletes in your state and you get to like have the pride of representing where you come from and all of you guys are cheering for each other and everyone's like Matt's side with you and you're like wrestling for more than just yourself. Like I feel like that feeling is so like once you like get it, you like it's addicting, it's craving. Like I would chase it over me. So I'm so unsurprised that it's like blown up so huge that way. But
the duels is totally the way to go. I mean, if you had to choose a summer competition through our organization, which I hope that people wouldn't have to choose. I mean, I hope that they would go to both. But man, the duels. I mean, what you're getting in the duels is because this obviously mirrors the boys freestyle, and I know what the boys freestyle, which we're going to be talking about here in a second with our next guest. But I know what type of competition that offers. I mean, you're getting 7-8 matches, per style against all the best kids from all the other states. Because we're not the only state that wants to win. Everybody else wants to win.
Everyone's
want to field the best teams. You're literally getting everybody's number ones, number twos, and that's all you're getting. And it makes for a very, very, very competitive 3, 4, or 5 days, or however long you're going to be there if you just wrestle freestyle or wrestle Greco too or whatever. So it's great.
I think it's super beneficial. Like we talk about culture in the sport of wrestling a lot and trying to build culture everywhere. I know it's a huge thing that myself and my coaches are dealing with here is trying to build the culture, get a wrestling heavy culture going here in Clarksville. And I think these type of environments to throw these kids into on teams, like you guys were saying, just supporting each other and rolling around and practicing and warming up with girls and guys that you're going to compete with throughout the seasons to come. Just building that camaraderie between them and sharing that experience with each other, I think it's fantastic. I think it's super awesome.
Yeah,
So
agree.
I agree with you 100%. I think you even see it, like you see this on every level of wrestling, though, right? Even on our senior level, there's like an art to, I mean, coming together with athletes that might on another day be your competitor, but now all of a sudden, like, your teammates and you're standing right next to each other and you're rooting for the other person to win. But normally you might be rooting for them to, lose, not be able to
yeah,
use the bracket. But I mean, you even see it like whenever we have like our senior level wrestling, these girls are competing for world team spots and Olympic spots like every single year. And then we get to have like our World Cup tournament and they're all like next to each other. And I mean, just being able to hear from some of those athletes, even from the top, like, I think it takes a level of maturity, especially asking, I mean, these girls who are younger, but I'm sure they've done it every year. And that's them. Females might do it a little better than men. Not trying to talk down the men, but be able to, like, put the competitive, like, where, maybe enemies during the year aside and be able to stand next to each other and be teammates, I think is also something super, super cool that they get to experience with the
No,
dual team
absolutely.
concept. But
Yeah.
it'd be cool.
Plus, I think, yeah, no, I mean, just to piggyback on that a little bit, I think one of the big things that, and you get a little bit, you get this with Fargo too, because this is one of the things with the Fargo trip, that because we do things different in the state. Obviously, all the kids can bring their own coaches if they want. They've also obviously got to pay for them and stuff like that. The state organization, we have like Brock and Tito last year. They were our state coaches, so to speak. So the kids that don't have a coach, they don't bring a coach. They can go and they have one of our state coaches. So we make Brock and Tito take the transportation, make sure they're in bed, check them in at night, make sure there's warm ups, blah, blah, stuff like that. But then also we have probably 80% of our kids that bring their own coaches and bring, the parents, fly them up there. They take care of all the travel, coaches travel, all that stuff. So one thing that we still try to do in Fargo is we still try to get that team camaraderie, of being on the Tennessee Fargo team. We still try to continue to do that. And it's a little bit more difficult the way we do it because we allow so many different coaches and so much freedom, and so forth. So, but we still try to do that to where we're all kind of somewhat together. These duels, you don't really have a choice.
right.
This one right here. I mean, you're going to be traveling with the team. You're going to be going back and forth with the team. You only got two coaches that's coaching the team. So it's one of those things where, listen, you're going to get to know the best girls, the best guys in the state, and you're going to be hanging out with them for whether it's 3, 5, 6 days or whatever the case may be, whether you're boys side or girl side, and you're going to get to know them. You get to know them well. So which is a pretty cool experience because then when you come around, this next year high school season, then you're like seeing them from, at a tournament. Hey, what's up? Yeah. And then they're all coming, so everybody's kind of in that, I guess, elite clique, so to speak. And that always makes kids feel good, to be a part of what's considered the state's best.
Yeah.
So,
and then if you're not in that group, then it like probably puts a little fire in your butt for the next year to
yeah,
try and make it there.
as it should, as it should.
Yeah.
as it
You
should.
know, like,
Go ahead.
like that's great point to bring up, Kenya. If you're out there right now and your name wasn't on the list, and I know you had talked about, Kenya, when we spoke earlier about how what the process is on the selection of the team and stuff like that, and it kind of went back and forth with me and Mrs. Fowler. Speaking of lineups and things like that, and it's from results.
Yeah.
We're not just calling random girls for this team. These are girls we've seen compete. These are girls that aren't competing on other teams. These are girls that we believe can get the job done at the junior level, because we do have some young girls on this team. But I think those girls can definitely compete at a higher level. So you got to earn it. You got to earn it. And it should be a privilege to be called up to wrestle for represent your state.
Yeah. So then even further than that, I mean, to the athlete whose name isn't on the list and maybe they have a goal for their name to be on that list next year, other than obviously, get better and win matches, like what specific events are you guys looking at for athletes to perform well at? Like, what would you recommend they wrestle in? And, what other things should they do to just give themselves the exposure to the people who are making these decisions?
USA Wrestling, TNUSA puts out that list of competitions that are being held throughout the state, and further on, outside of state to compete in during the spring and summer season, leading up to Fargo. Go compete. I know we hold a tournament every year here in Clarksville. You have the Ironman, you have the Keller Classic, you have the state tournament, you have all these tournaments that I wish that areas would hold more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I wish that we had more options within an hour of us, because I know with parents traveling and money, you know, spring and summertime can become probably the most expensive time of the year as far as wrestling goes. So I wish people would get on board with that and see how important freestyle and Greco wrestling is for these kids to become champions in their regular season. And I mean, for these girls going to college, I mean, you're wrestling freestyle. So if you're a girl that has goals of and ambitions of wrestling in college and you're not on the mat every day in the spring and summer training freestyle wrestling and getting better, then what's the point? You know, you can't complain when you're not achieving your goals. I mean, Kenya, you've been there. Mike, you've competed at a high level. I've been there. Rob's been there. I mean, you have to put in the work. You have to continue to show up to tournaments. You have to continue to get working in the room and stuff like that. And it's commitment. Make sacrifices. I know it's tough. Summertime is tough. Missing prom is tough, or showing up late to prom is tough. But you know, things like that, they're sacrifices that you got to make if you want to be at the top. So
Absolutely. I mean, I think there's this big, huge chasm, like a big difference in obviously the partition we have in like our normal participation we have in our normal high school folk style wrestling season versus what's happening in the spring and summer freestyle.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if these people would have the audacity to be upset about it, but I think if you've got, I mean, if you're kicking butt in the folk style season and hoping that's enough to get you on, you know, maybe cool teams like this, I'd probably advise you otherwise, right? I mean, like you've got to be a good freestyle wrestler to wrestle on a freestyle dual team, and beyond that, for females especially, you've got to be a good freestyle wrestler if you want to wrestle a day after you graduate high school. And so,
right.
I mean,
and we look at that like we're not just looking at this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's girls on this team that we're looking at how they competed last year in freestyle, the year before in freestyle. I mean, we have girls that traveled outside of the country to compete. We have, you know, girls that went to Fargo and did really well, you know, whether they placed or they came close to placing, you know what I mean? Like, so we're looking at everything, you know, when you're deciding these teams. It's not just like, oh, well, there's a state champ this year in folk style, you know, and she should be on the freestyle. Let me tell you, there's
a difference.
There's quite a few, I think, boys and girls that you know can transition over into freestyle and Greco and get their, you know, feelings hurt a little bit that we're at the top of the state in folk style. So we want to see freestyle competitors and Greco competitors, and that's kind of where we make our decisions from. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, let me ask both of you guys. I don't even know. I feel like the answer to this question might be obvious or similar for everybody, but you might have a different take on it. Tell me, for both Coach Mack and Coach Bach, your favorite thing about coaching in a dual tournament or a dual experience versus just like in an open individual tournament. Like, what makes it fun?
Yeah, I like the mental games. I like, you know, just playing the mental game with the other coaches, seeing who they're going to throw out there, who they're going to pull back, you know, what wrestler they're going to send out, you know, who they're going to put at what weight, you know, who they might have wrestled at another weight in one duel versus who they're going to throw out against our kids, you know. I love the mental aspect of duels. I think that's what makes dual wrestling more fun than the individual tournaments.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I like that.
I enjoy and as you guys know, I'm a relatively new coach to the game of coaching wrestling. This being my only second season here at West Creek. What I came to find is I love the science behind it. I love watching film. I love watching film and breaking wrestlers down and being able to show my wrestlers like how to beat these kids and moving them around in the lineup, like Rob said, and kind of just shutting teams down and frustrating people. I like looking across the mat. I mean, because you guys remember from competing, like looking across the mat after you just whooped up on somebody, and mom and dad are there, you know, all upset, and the kids over there pouting and everything like that. And I like getting that feeling from the other coaches, just frustrated. I like to see clipboards getting thrown. I like this, you know what I mean? I love it. Honestly, my absolute favorite part of it is watching these kids that probably didn't know each other a week prior to that, and they're chanting each other's names. And when you're coming off the mat, they're circling up and giving you big hugs. I mean, dude, I created so many good relationships at the boys cadet team last year. I see these kids now, and they'll hit me up on Instagram, or I'll see them at tournaments. They'll come up and headbutt me or grab onto me or something like that. You know, it's cool. Like it builds. I don't know. It's just nice. It's awesome to see, and it's something I love tremendously. And I'm excited to bring Mac on this year so he can experience in Kenya. I think you guys are really gonna really enjoy it. It's totally. I mean, it's a different dynamic than it is coaching at the high school level like we do, you know, and just seeing all these kids come together from different areas and really want the best for each other. So,
yeah, it's kind of like you create a little miniature family, even if it's just for a few days. It's like, have each other's back no matter what. And then after that, we'll go to our different parts of the states, but it's like we still have.
And then we'll beat up on each other in a couple months. So.
Exactly.
There we go.
Well, I'm so excited to do this one, guys.
Good deal.
I'm pumped. I was so pumped when you said, you were down. I was like, hell yeah, this is going to be sick. And then I asked Mac, I was like, hey, because it was originally, there's supposed to be some other coaches, but people had other things going on. And so I kind of needed to find others, and I talked to Mac, and he was like, heck yeah. And I was like, sweet. So I think the dynamic between the three of us is really going to rock it. And bringing someone like yourself on, Kenya, like a pioneer of the sport for women's wrestling, I think it's something great that these girls are going to be able to look up to and be super receptive of what you have to say. And I think you're a special addition to this for sure.
Oh, thanks.
So
I'm really happy
thank you for joining.
It was kind of irrational when I said yes, but I'm like, you know what, this sounds fun. And what I have planned right now doesn't sound fun. So,
well, we got you locked in now. I think this 1 year contract.
Well, thanks so much. Hatch, do you have anything for Brock and Coach before they head out?
No, man. Like I said, I think all three of you guys are going to do a great job. And like I said, we're just we're thankful as a state organization that we have such great people leading our youngsters here in Tulsa in June. So, and just so you know, just so everybody knows, the competition dates for the tournament, June 18th. Now that you guys are only doing
probably 18, 19.
Yeah, 18, 19th to 20th. Yeah. That's what it is. 18, 19th to 20th. That's what you guys got going on. So there we go. 18th, 19th, 20th in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And looking forward to watching you guys do some work down there in Tulsa. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good
and
deal.
If you coaches that are watching, wrestlers that are watching, Kenya, Mike, if you guys find anybody at those weights that I named off, 95, 105, 115, 140, and 190, we are looking for girls. So please send them our way.
You got it. At Coach Brock and at Kenya Sloan.
Yeah.
There it is. Got it.
Mac doesn't have an Instagram yet, so
I might have to set him up with one. All right, guys, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks. You guys have a good one. Take it
Thanks,
easy.
Tom.
All right, bye.
All right. Tell you what, that junior girls team's in good hands. Ain't no doubt about that.
Man, I'm 10 times more excited now.
Oh, it's gonna be fun. I mean, it's gonna be fun to watch you, or to see how the results are. I'm not sure if I'll make it out there, but I can't wait to see how y'all do. You guys are gonna put together. You guys got a good team going right now. I mean, we have a good team going right now. Some really good team girls going right now. And I know you fill those slots with some really quality kids, and we'll be ready to roll on it. So, absolutely. Yeah. Well, next, without further ado, I'm just gonna bring him right in right now.
There we go.
There he is, my main man, Jarvis Little.
Hey guys,
how we doing?
I'm doing well, man. How are you guys?
Yeah, the second Jarvis Little to join the podcast.
Yeah, I didn't put senior on there. Maybe I need to change my name.
We had the youngster on there before.
Yeah.
We had the youngster on there before. The App State commitment. Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, Jarvis Little, Spartan Wrestling Club, our junior director in the state of Tennessee. And tell you what, jack of all trades, Kenya. Jack of all trades.
Tell me about it.
Master of none. all of that.
He's a master of. I mean, I tell you
Or
what,
master of all.
we are very, very fortunate to have him in charge of our juniors. But yeah, we brought Jarvis on tonight just to kind of chop it up about the junior boys team. Yeah, I mean, this is a trip we've been taking for a while. Jarvis, you've been involved with this. Is your
it's I've been on it since yeah, I call Jarvis my practice child because I practiced with him for the last 4 years. So we've been going on to cadets and
Yeah.
juniors now for a bit. But it is fun. I tell you what, the interesting thing this year is I'm fielding calls. Now it is not easy to put this team together still. It is still it's still a headache. But interestingly enough, these coaches around Tennessee, they ride for their kids, man. And I was fielding calls after that state tournament like you wouldn't believe. Hey, man, you gonna put my kid on the team?
That's totally opposite of what it used to be. It used to be calling them, saying, "Hey, by the way, can we get can you talk this kid into wrestle for us?"
Absolutely, man. So it is not easy, but it is pretty. We're getting there, man. And the interesting thing, I listen to you guys talk about like Fargo and all that stuff.
Mhm.
As we're growing as a state, it's pretty cool to see where we came from and look at like not just how good we're getting, but the level of interest at all levels for girls and boys, how we're growing. It's pretty cool. I was thinking about this when Brock was on, some of the stuff he was talking about, pissing people off across the aisle. That's what he likes. I really enjoy being Tennessee for this reason, because when you go to these duels and you're Tennessee, they're like, oh, easy match.
Yeah.
That's an easy match. I mean, last year we were at the duels and we were sitting in that arena forever, and we're gonna wrestle New Jersey next. And we were sitting there for like an hour and a half because of all of the stuff, because of the planning stuff. But the point of this one is the New Jersey guys were talking so much trash about us, and we're right there. I mean, we're right there. They were talking so much junk about us. I mean, it was bad. And so when we got up to wrestle those guys next, man, if our guys didn't try to break those dudes in half. At the end of that duel, one of the young men came. He's like, "Look, guys, I wasn't talking about y'all."
Yeah, you were.
He's like, "It wasn't me, man." It's a fun environment that they foster.
Yeah. Well,
because
we're
they do
not
turn into a team.
surprise guys for much longer, because I mean, I know that like lately we've been surprising people, but now, I mean, even when I go to different national events, and I go to our state leaders convention, or our state leaders summit, I should say, and people are taking note of like how much better our state's getting.
Yeah.
And then we got kids that are wrestling the high national level, that are bringing a lot of, like, your Cooper Hiltons and your Cody Chittums and stuff like that are, pretty heavily, sought after recruits. And they're like, man, and they bring obviously a lot of attention to our state too. And it's just, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty great thing. So we're excited about it. That's for sure. But man, this junior duels tournament, I mean, this one, you only know if you know.
Yeah, it's a meat grinder, man. Like, listen,
people don't know, and a lot of people don't know, and they just honestly, this is probably one of the biggest misconceptions that I always like to clear out. Everybody that's a newbie to the junior duels experience
want all the matches.
Your kids do not want
all the matches. Absolutely not.
They don't want all the matches. Trust me. You might think that you want them to have all the matches, and you may think they want to have all the matches, but they do not want all 14 to 16 matches.
Hatch and Kenya, this is how I've managed that one, because coming from I used to be one of those I want all the matches dads.
Yeah.
Gonna get my kid killed out there because I think he wants all the matches, right? So the way that I've managed
Dad, what if I don't want all the matches?
well, listen. Number one, they'll tell you. So what I do is we get a couple of them now still coming want all the matches. I was like, listen, there's no 1 and 2 guy. There's no A team and B team and alternate. We're just gonna try to take a full team. And each style is anywhere from 8 to 10 matches, depending upon how well we do per style.
Mhm.
So
Right.
18 to 20 matches ish, 16 to 20 matches. That's a lot of wrestling over 4 days.
Mhm.
So once I throw the numbers out there to him, I was like, so what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we are amicable about how we put the kids out there, and everybody's going to wrestle plenty. And there's going to be a few matches where, hey, we're going to try to win it, and the coaches are going to put the best team out there, and I'm going to trust my coaches to do what they do. But I'm going to give them. But every kid will wrestle anywhere from 8 to 10 matches over the course of that weekend.
Mhm.
And by the time we get to day 4 of competition, because we go Greco first.
Yeah.
So by the time we get to day 4 of that competition, everybody loves freestyle, but I tell you what, those guys are raising their hand. Coach, I'm good. Let the other guy do it. That
Yeah.
happens every single year
Yes.
because they're so beat up.
Mhm.
So I was chatting with a young man today, just getting a confirmation that he was going to be on the team, and he asked me that question. I said, son, our goal is to make sure you're prepared for Fargo. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that you're going to get plenty of matches. You're going to catch a couple of guys that are dudes. You're going to catch a couple of guys that are just as good as you. And you're going to catch a couple of guys that might be the easy match, but we're from Tennessee, so you might be the easy match. so, but you'll wrestle plenty, and you'll wrestle at every level, and you'll be able to test yourself so that when we get into the back half of the summer, when it really matters, you'll be prepared. So that's the goal. So I've been pretty successful with that. At least they don't fuss and cuss at me as much on the front end.
Yeah.
Maybe after they leave, they fuss and cuss at me, but they can't. The logic is hard to argue with, right?
Yep.
Right.
I remember because I used to field because I used to take all 3 teams, but that was the one. I mean, you're talking about the 14U team, the 14U team. The kids can justify the fact that, okay, they're probably, they can say, okay, I won all 14, 16 matches or whatever. And they probably can handle it because it's not nearly as physical.
Right.
A lot of them can't handle it though. I mean, a lot of them get to about the 10 match and they're used to like nothing against the AAU middle school duels, but it's just a whole different tournament, and it's cause the physicality of it's totally different. So then you move on to 16U duels. I mean, these kids are used to either like those type of middle school dual tournaments, and they're used to like it lasting 2, maybe 3 days, and they get through it. But now you start adding those 4th and 5th days on the competition, and it's now you get into freestyle when all the good kids like the Greco, they usually bring, let's just call 60%, 70% of their best kids.
Yeah.
Well, then when the freestyle kids come in, now you're looking at all their best kids. So
Well,
it's
Hatch,
like you went through 2 days of like all these hammers, and now all of a sudden you got to wrestle against a better stock of kids. It's just
the junior duels, Minnesota, Illinois, Iowa, Ohio, they bring a Greco team.
Yes, and a freestyle
and
team.
then those guys go home and they bring a whole fresh new
freestyle team.
They bring a fresh new freestyle team in. Like
that's even better.
It's ridiculous. And we got our 24 guys out here that got beat up and dropped on their head a couple of times. And now you got to come on. So it is a very, very different animal.
Is when it starts to get a little bit, because you look at the physicality, it starts to get those kids, 16U kids are, now you look at them, you're like, dang, man, that kid's only 16.
Yeah.
But then when I used to field the questions for the juniors, and this was even back way then, I just told them flat out, no, you ain't wrestling all of this. Oh, but my kid wants something. No, he doesn't. No, he wants all of it. And I said, no, he doesn't. I'm trying not to get this. Trust me, I'm trying not to get this kid hurt. He does not want all these matches. Trust me.
They don't.
That's it. So
yeah, the kids are pretty receptive to it.
But it's such a great event though, because you think about it. Think about like all you got, like, but probably I would say almost you probably get about 40 different states. I mean, the majority of the states get there.
Yeah,
majority of the states get there. So you're looking at about 40 states. 40 states with all their number ones. I mean, because there's very, very few number ones that don't go. Right. I mean, it's usually the number ones out of all of them. So you're talking a lot. I mean, just an insane amount of really, really talented wrestlers, especially when that freestyle tournament starts. It's crazy talented. It's such great wrestling. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to be a part of it. And again, it's pretty cool to see our kids compete. Yeah. Like really be competitive and and turn heads at that event. So our guys are getting pretty good. And they're holding their own out there. So we're not out there just kind of rolling over.
Yeah. So what's the process of picking the team? What's the team looking like so far? How things going?
Yeah, the process is, well, I started this last year. I actually start right after the folk style state tournament, and I look at all three divisions. So I look at private school, big school, and small school, and I look at all of the state champs. So I start with 14 weight classes. All the state champs. So that's my starting point, right? I start with all of the state champs, all weight classes for all of them. And then I just try to get their information and flip them a note to see if they're interested. And that cuts out about 60% of them right there, because about 60% of them, just say no, or they don't respond. So then I look at the USA events, the Tennessee USA events that we have, like the Ironman, and I pull from those. And all of the kind of the top guys, I always start with the top two, and I continue to just put them in my list, and I start to just field the questions there. And then finally, I look at the state tournament and all of the champs from the state tournament. What you'll find is the cross-pollination of those names. About 60 to 70% of those names I've already contacted, right? So it's just about getting the confirmations from them.
Yep.
And then from there, if I still don't have a full team, which right now I still have, and I try to field a full roster, like 24 is the max for juniors. I try to get 24 bodies in spots, so that we can give some guys some breaks and move some kids around if we need to. But it's less about bumping, it's more about giving guys breathers, because it is a long haul. And that's the thing. So as I get through that process, and then I start to go down my state tournament list to see, because at state tournament, it really tells you who's committed to wrestling this style, the Olympic styles. As we go into Southeast regionals, I'll be there, and a lot of those names that I have uncommitted, I'll be able to actually talk to them and put eyeballs on them and have a conversation with some of those guys to get confirmations or not, one way or the other. And when I come back home from Southeast this weekend, I should have a full 24-man roster, all weights accounted for, and we're good to go. And then it's just a matter of getting our state chairman, Mike Hatcher, to put together a training camp. So that we can bring everybody together.
Mike Hatcher's responsibility. I believe that is the 14, 16 junior division. I think that's all those team leaders. I believe that's what is done. So
I got you, man.
I believe that I've set that out in our band discussion the other day, and I heard crickets.
I don't do band.
Nobody knows where the training camp is.
I ain't looked at band.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, I totally agree. I think that all the team leaders need to get together and figure out when the training camp is going to be and where.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So I mean that's how I get there. And it's an arduous process, but again, like I said, some of these coaches, as I was going through that process, I was fielding phone calls and just cross-referencing the coach and their athlete. Are they on my list? And I don't have a problem putting you on the list. Now, again, I still you have to have good results, right? Like, we're not going to throw you to the wolves. I want to make sure that we set our kids up for success. So the team that we put together, we want to be competitive. And we want to make sure that we're not throwing a kid out there that doesn't need to be out there. But very few of these names are those guys.
Yeah, true. Well, this year we're doing almost like a junior cadet combined team, because we're not starting the 16U team this year. So it gives you a little bit bigger pool. We have some really good 16U kids too. So
we do. That team, I know they're a little, heartbroken about, not going all the way to Utah.
Yeah.
Because I think they really could have done very, very well. But at the end of the day, and this is because I have a cadet. Right?
But you also never know, because
I have a cadet that was supposed to be on that team too. And what I share with him is, I was like, this if you can be successful at this tournament, man, like it speaks volumes for what you're going to be able to do moving forward. I was like, so like, let's reset. Let's look at what success looks like. Like being 100% or winning all your matches is not the goal. it's about getting better at wrestling. And you're not gonna get better at wrestling by wrestling guys that are not on your level, right? Wrestle guys that are going to college next year, going to Division I colleges, and see how you fare there. If you can't get a takedown on those dudes, bro, you got some work to do. That's what I'm telling you. So I was like, so let's see how you're doing. So
that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, and look, I was like, the long game, man. Ultimately, it's about prep for Fargo for this year.
Yes.
But like I said, I have a sophomore in high school. I was like, and he looks at his brother like, I was like, you got to be better than that dude, right? And you can't be better than that dude doing less than he did.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
true.
So that's kind of it. But yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, like I said, this obviously, our 16U age group it's a very, very competitive age group. I would love to see how they did, at that tournament and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we as an organization have to look at it too. And is it okay? Yeah, we could have done well in the tournament, but we can also be bankrupt. I'm not sure if that's a very good, scenario.
Not ideal. Not ideal.
Maybe we would have gotten the gold pool, and performed really well. But is that really worth us not having any money for the rest of the teams?
No, I think I know we're talking about duels, but I think ultimately it's going to work out well for all of us.
Yeah, I think so.
As a delegation, not only for the duels, we'll represent well at the duels at all levels for the girls and the boys. Mm-hmm. But what's gonna be pretty cool to see is you talked about the Fargo registration stuff is coming out or is out already. Again, going back to the beginning where we didn't have that problem, where if you wanted to go to Fargo, you could just go.
Yeah, just go. As long as you pay the money.
I think this year it's going to be interesting to see because there's going to be one or two weight classes, if not, a few more. Mm-hmm. That if you didn't get the allocation, man, you're in a bad way.
Yeah,
those are good problems, and I'm here for those.
Yes.
So, absolutely. And part of that is
Kenya brought up a great point. You know what? They should have went and qualified the way at Southeast Regional.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Part of it is participating in the qualifying events. Start with our state tournament. And if our state tournament doesn't work for you, Southeast Regionals or any of the other regional tournaments, right?
Yep.
But either qualify the weight and earn your way on. If you're at I'm just out off the top of my head, like 120. Mm-hmm. We have about 4 or 5 20-pounders that are like on the level. They're legit guys. Mm-hmm. What are they gonna do?
Yeah,
because they weren't at our state tournament. So what you gonna do?
Yeah, I know. It better be at Southeast Regionals.
Well, I hope so. Because if not, I'm gonna be standing behind you with a smile on my face, like, "Hey, what are you doing? What are we doing?"
I know.
So it's about participation, man. I think participating not only on the dual teams, but participating in our Tennessee USA events is imperative to continue to push us forward, because a lot of people don't realize that the events that you've been talking about for the last few weeks are how we fund and support our athletes. It doesn't go in Coach Hatcher's pocket. Because he got plenty of money. He doesn't need
that. Right.
He doesn't.
Oh, boy. Jarvis obviously don't know me very well.
But, it goes to help fund some of these trips, And if I was looking at numbers, I was talking to Nelson. I just asked him generically, how many athletes do we have, like, paid members? And he gave me a number like, we have over 2,000 members.
Yeah.
That's like, but I was like, what if we had half of that come to our state tournament in Ironman? Exactly. Half of it.
Exactly.
Think about that. Like that doubles our budget.
Exactly.
Absolutely doubles our budget. If we have half of the people who are on our rosters that are paid to come to just those 2 events, it doubles our budget. And guess what we can do? We can go to Utah now.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
those are
if the people that there's, obviously with the Utah thing, there was some people that were disappointed, but
yeah,
I look at, say if we were to base just our team that went to Utah off the 16U kids that participated in their state tournament.
Yeah.
Or the Ironman tournament, or the combination of both.
Right.
or at least one of the events. I mean,
Yeah.
that takes out, some kids that probably should have been at least one of those tournaments.
Absolutely. So the big takeaway is it's not like really just laying on people like that. It's just saying, hey guys,
Yeah.
we have to support our organization.
Mm-hmm.
And if we support our organization, then we can have an expectation that our organization supports us back. Right. There's a mutual benefit in that. Right.
Yep.
Kenya, I'm over talking. I'm sorry. I'm being a terrible host. I'm being a terrible guest because this is when you guys broke, when you all broke like double digits and hit like 11, I was one of those 11. See, I was helping you out.
So, Jarvis listens. He listens to the podcast. He does.
Yeah.
He's an avid listener.
He was like, oh yeah. I was like 11. I was like, let me log off.
Jarvis always asks me. He said, where did Kenya come from? How do you two know each other? I'm like, man, I interviewed her. This was like one of my first 5 interviews back in my other one, that podcast, which wasn't very good. Why should we interview her? Because this platform's a lot better.
Yeah, I like it. You guys do well.
Yeah, well, we try to keep people informed, give kids some shine. That's all we try to do.
I tell you what, and this is my last dogging people in Tennessee, but you guys are on it's number 30.
30.
That's a big deal, man, because I like podcasts. I like talking Tennessee wrestling. Mm-hmm. In an informed way, right? Like I like in an informed way.
No Coach T stuff. I don't do that.
No. But like, there's a lot of podcasts that come and go after about 10 because it's not an easy thing. The commitment to do this is commendable, man. So I mean, hats off to you guys for just keeping going. So hopefully this will keep you up to get you to about 60. That's the one compliment for the year.
Okay, there we go. We're in it for the long haul. At least I am. Okay, well, good. There we go. See, now Kenya, we just got her coaching full time now. So
I noticed that. They stick you in. Listen, I was watching.
We got Kenya to drop that day job, Jarvis.
I was watching how they sucked you in. You laid it. They laid it out there for you. I was like, they're gonna get her. They're gonna get her. Hey, you gonna do a national? Oh man, I was like, they got you.
When we started doing the show together, I wasn't even living in Tennessee. I didn't know a single wrestler that we were talking about on the show. And now I'm here in the ring.
Yeah. Well, she brings a lot to the show. It's awesome. Yeah. Well, no, we
appreciate
it.
I do have one more thing because I'm over talking. I know it, but he's not going to invite me back anymore, so I'm good.
Oh no, I'm inviting you back plenty.
I tell you what, another thing that's really, really cool. This is my way of just giving you guys props because I don't see you guys enough. But like this whole all girls club thing that you're doing, that's a cool idea. Like that's a real cool idea. I was like, man, never thought about it because we have 1 or 2 girls, but they always feel a little bit out,
right?
Like outside because you got all those dudes and then you have like 3 girls, and that's just the hand that they've been dealt because of where they are. So. Hopefully what you're doing kind of catches on because there's absolutely a market for it. Shoot, look at Tennessee. I mean, look at Cleveland. Look at what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then you're doing your thing in the Knoxville area. If somebody can, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So kudos.
I've been asking for a coach in Middle Tennessee because I want to do one. I want to do an all girls, young guns club is what I want. And I want to do. I mean, so this is a shout out to who's ever listening. Anybody that in Middle Tennessee, I'm looking for a coach. I want a girls development program this will be the only kids program that I start through Young Guns. This will be the only one. I've already made a commitment when I came to Middle Tennessee that I will not do a kids club because I love the kids club system we have in Middle Tennessee, but this one's different. If there is any girls coach out there that wants to coach and start a beginners all the way through an all girls program in Middle Tennessee, please reach out to me.
Yes, there's a market for it. There's not a whole lot of them.
Yep.
That's why you were beating up on everybody at the state tournament, Kenya.
Yeah.
You're not wrong, though. I mean, it's true.
She's out there running halves on the side. It's like, yeah. But it's pretty cool.
I think it would be great. I mean, I think in no other sport is that the expectation. No other sport in the high school level is that the expectation for a girl to have to compete on a boys team. And so we're definitely headed in the right direction. And having people, obviously, like you two and the other 2 we've had on the show that are so willing to get behind it and support it, it's what's going to make the difference. So I'm happy to be playing a small part.
All righty.
Yeah.
So I talked about 10% of the time about the junior dual team, huh?
No, you talk plenty about the junior duels. Not
All right.
actually.
This show's so fun. Half time just had to sit here with our hands in our lap.
Hey, look, I'll do that.
We also love the perspective on the tournament because this is a different event. It really is. It is a different event. And again, I keep referencing the 14U and 16U tournaments, which are plenty tough, but that junior tournament is a whole other different. I mean, it's just look at the talent level we have right now at the high school level. I mean, we got how many? We had what 7, 8 high school kids that were in the Olympic trials a couple weeks ago. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, the level of competition and just the level of wrestling at that junior and senior level. It's just a late sophomore, junior, senior. It's nuts. It's
It is crazy. Like when I help put our schedule together for the high school. Now we're not there yet. Like, so that's my qualifier. We're not there yet, but we were like literally talking about college opens on our high school schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was a conversation point. Like, do we do it? We're not there yet. Yeah. But the fact that you're having that conversation about trying to go to the Southeast Open with your high school team, with select high schoolers, of course, speaks volumes about the development of athletes in Tennessee, just the high school athletes we have here. So we're definitely moving quickly in the right direction.
But you got to get them on that wave of that thinking right away, though. You got to get them thinking there. I mean, I think you guys do a great job of getting kids, to the premier tournaments that they need to be at. I'm hoping that us getting in the P&L for next year.
Yeah,
that provides a whole other level of just opportunity for the kids in Middle Tennessee. I mean, with our P&L team and then the travel team we put together. So it's things like that, I mean, because that's what all the other, because if we're not doing it, we're getting further and further and further behind. We are.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
that was literally like that was the deciding factor whether I wanted to put our team in the P&L or not, because I know we're not there yet. We're not. We have a select number of high school kids I think that compete at a high level that could maybe go there and do some stuff at those tournaments. We actually have some really good youth kids and middle school kids in our group. But the thing is like, okay, I'm sitting here wondering if we're at that level yet. Well, if I keep thinking, man, I'm not sure if we're at that level yet. 5 years from now, everybody else that is at that level is going to be way up. Still going to be thinking about whether we're at that level or not. So you know what? We better just get in there and just get our feet wet and just get after it. And, you know what? And just provide opportunity for Middle Tennessee kids and get them to where they're at those type of competitions. Because again, I mean, it's just.
I think the exposure.
That's what all the other good teams are doing in the country.
Absolutely. I think the exposure will be the return on the investment, right? Mm-hmm. It's not the wins and the losses, it's the exposure. Mm-hmm. Our kids seeing the level that they're at, that they thought was good enough, and realizing very quickly that, man, there's levels to this. And I'm like on level 2 and that guy was on level 10. So I gotta, and it'll help. It'll help to either light a fire under them or make them make some business decisions around, hey, maybe I need to go play baseball.
or sometimes they grab a hold of like one of those Highland Rank kids and like, you know what? I mean, he's good.
It wasn't that bad, right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they can scrap with him.
I can go with him. If I want to build a different mindset, I can 100% go with him. Yep. So yeah, I love it. Jarvis, we need to have you on here. Another guest, don't we, Kenya? We need to bring him on in. I'm trying to think of because we kind of created a position for him on the board.
God. And see, this is how they suck you in. This is when you say, hey, you know what? I have to go.
Yeah, he's heard this. He's heard this whole song and dance already. But look how we got Kenya locked in here.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
it has been a pleasure though. Awesome. Kenya, nice officially meeting you.
It is very nice.
Hatch is always cool talking to you, man.
Absolutely. You as well, my man.
All right.
Jarvis, thanks so much, man. We appreciate everything you do.
All right, man. Take it easy, guys.
Jarvis is awesome. Yeah. I'm telling you, that dude, he's so sharp, and he's such a huge asset to our organization. And I tell you right now, he's like, how you get wrestling dads, but then you get wrestling dads that think they can coach or they think they know anything about wrestling. And then you get wrestling dads that are actually really good coaches. I mean, he's a really, really good coach. He knows, he's very, very analytical and yeah, he's got great perspective. I'll call him a lot of times, just kind of, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this type of thing? Cause he's very, very good at seeing both sides. He's very, like I said, he's very analytical. He's very, of course, he coaches at Summit. He's a Summit coach. His kids go to Summit. No question about that. Nobody can question that. But he's also very, very, very fair. And he's he's concerned about optics, and how things look. And he's a good person to have in our organization for sure. Plus he's a cool guy.
Plus he's a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's awesome. Well, there we go. Good podcast tonight, as usual.
Yeah, we had great guests.
Really good. I tell you what. Here's the deal. We went over 10 minutes, but this is the reason that's such a good thing. Parents and coaches, after listening to this podcast, you got 3 people that are involved in these national team trips. Listen, if you guys can't feel the passion that these guys have for the sport of wrestling, actually, no, I take that back. Not 3, 4. We had 4. You, two girls, 3 girls coaches, and then Jarvis on the boys' side. If you can't hear the passion that they have for wrestling and how they're going to help your athlete or your son or daughter out on these trips, and I don't know, you might want to replay this episode because we have really, really good people involved in our organization, and these are just 4 of them. So it's awesome.
What I was thinking as Jarvis was speaking about how some people might feel a certain way or might be hesitant or skeptical because they don't know how much mat time they're going to get, and I also agree. Trust me, whatever mat time you get will be enough because it's going to be long. But I also think that there's so much more you can gain from this trip than just the seconds or minutes you spend on the mat.
Yes.
I mean, that's true for the sport in general. Being in and around this sport makes you a better person. But I think if you're someone who wants to get better at wrestling, obviously I haven't been on one of these yet, but just being able to.
Oh, you're going to love it.
Oh, I know.
You're going to love it.
Also,
you're going to love it.
Another way that I think it's helpful is we're also aware of how common burnout is in this sport. Mm-hmm. And so for the opportunity to do something so cool and so fun, regardless if you're spending 6, 12, 14, 54 minutes on the mat, is something that's got to be rejuvenating for your passion in the sport. And we need it. You can't stay in this sport for 10 or 15 years and not be doing fun stuff, right? You're going to hate it. I'm just, as someone who did it, you got to have the stuff in there that's just makes wrestling fun. And this is something that's going to make wrestling fun. So.
Oh, you're right. And then the camaraderie that's built on these dual teams. I mean, it's so much fun. I do that. These are there's a lot of things that I do miss about, I just look back at my 30 plus years of coaching now. I like what I shouldn't say I like. I love what I do now. I love running my Young Guns program here. I love the amount of kids that we have affected in the area. I love working with all the coaches. But we don't. I miss the camaraderie of what it was like when I coached at Chattanooga and at Cal Poly and Chattanooga the first time, and even Grand Canyon, which I had spent 1 year there, or all the high schools that I coached at, or the national dual teams that I took here out of Tennessee. Those are the things that I miss probably the most. I mean, I love being the state chairman, don't get me wrong, and we have so many great coaches in this area in the state now to where I don't have to go. I don't have to be in charge of a dual meet team anymore. I mean, we didn't what Jarvis is doing right now as far as putting the team together, combined with I think he's got 2 coaches, maybe 3. So what those 4 are doing, I was doing all that all by myself. I was getting the team together, and then I'd have one more coach maybe to help me out, and that was really it. And that was it. And then Derek Harrison got involved, so it was just him and I, and then we'd pull a third person in just to whatever, as a team leader. It's just we were doing so much, but now we have so many people, great people in our organization that I really enjoy being the state chairman. But that's the part of it I do. And I'm telling you right now, you're gonna come back from Tulsa. You're like, that was awesome. It was such a cool experience because you got your own little team for the week, and it's just everybody's so happy to be around each other, and they love being in it. And it's just, and you're probably gonna come back. You're like, man, that's so awesome. And dang it, I can't believe it. Why couldn't we have that when I was in high school? Oh, I know. Yeah. So yeah, but that's but it's a cool. I'm like I said, I'm happy we got a chance to talk to everybody about the duels because the duels are it's a great experience. But yeah.
And then there's something Brock and I forgot to mention and it was funny because Jarvis brought it up too, but I didn't get He didn't take many breaths in between his sentences. So but not to pick sides, Jarvis, if you're still watching about who should be putting together this little team camp. But we've organized a team camp for our junior national girls team.
Okay. It's like that.
Yeah. June
When
9th.
is it? When and where? So everybody knows.
Yeah, June 9th in Clarksville at Iron Knights Wrestling Club. So on the
Awesome.
9th, it's just the team members that, for those of us that are going to national duels, our junior team.
Mm-hmm.
But then the day before that, I'll be the clinician for a camp that's open to anyone and everyone, and our national team members will be coming. Will be there as well. So so we're gonna have a little camp for everybody on the 8th. So everyone come, be there. It's gonna be fun. Your national team members will be there, so you have good partners, and then it'll just be our team on the 9th. So we'll be able to like kind of grow some chemistry and learn the athletes, and athletes can learn the coaches and stuff.
Oh, that's great. That's a great idea. I need to
So-
get on our yes, I need to get on our other teams and say, when are we doing this? We got to get something going on here.
I
So,
can't really take that.
Now,
much
is this
serious.
just for the junior duels, junior girls, or is it for 14 and 16U also?
What, the team, the one on the 9th?
Yeah.
It'll be just our junior girls
Juniors.
that are going. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
But
Cool.
everyone, 14, 16, 12, everyone come on the day before and we'll have a good, just all girls camp.
I like it. Cool. All right. Well, that gives me something I got to get on the other ones about.
Yeah, I know. Jarvis was giving you a hard time about throwing
I
it together,
know.
and I'm like,
He was
I don't know
trying to throw me
normally.
on the bus there, and I was like, wait a second here. I can pull up this band message that I had right here, and
That's funny. No, yeah, Brock's on top of it. He already knew that needed to happen, and he put it together and just said, "Hey, you're coming this day." I was like, "Okay."
Love it. Good stuff. All right, Kenya. Anything else?
That's it. I'm excited for this upcoming weekend at Southeast to see everyone kick
Yep.
butt.
Looking forward to it too. Ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next week. Most likely, pay attention to social media. Most likely, it might be on Monday again. So, but we'll see if we can get it together. I mean, maybe between you and I at Southeast Regionals, we should be able to flag some girls down at the Southeast Regionals and set it up for Monday. Could probably do that. Huh?
Yeah, we always say we're gonna do stuff at tournaments, but
We'll see.
Really happen, but
We'll see. We'll kind of play.
We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, we're going to see next week. And we'll do a whole Southeast region recap. Hopefully, we can bring home a Tennessee State team title again, or a Southeast regional title again. We'll see. I think so. I think we got the talent. Let's get it. We just got to show up. Got to get those numbers down there, and let's go. Get the talent down there.
Let's go.
All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
Bye.